Hello, everyone. I am a rising senior at UM-Dearborn, majoring in health and human services with a concentration in public health. I have been a part of the mental health and wellness peer mentor program for 11, almost a year now.
I don't know why I thought you were about to say 11 years when I heard that. Hi, everyone. My name is Grace. I'm majoring in health and human services with concentration in public health. I'm a rising junior, and I've been a part of the peer mentor program for about, I think, 7 months now, 7 or 8. So our icebreaker is, what ways do you benefit the environment?
Yeah, what ways have you worked to help out your environment around you?
I think for me, just doing like small things like recycling, walking places when I could drive, eating more sustainably, and I don't know, probably volunteering our community.
I would say for me, probably like recycling has been very big since my childhood. And since I live near campus, I usually walk instead of wasting gas.
That's actually a pretty big one because I know a lot of people who live at the Union, which is only like 5-minute walk away, and they tend to drive, and it's like it takes more time to drive than walk.
It does, because you have to start your car. It's a lot.
Okay, right there next to my own, the spray from the locker. It's a brown bottle. Perfect. Thank you.
Things of Zoom. Okay, so right now I want to share my screen, get a PowerPoint. Oops. So today we're protecting Mother Earth. All right, so right now we have a nice Kahoot for you guys. It's pretty simple. Some of the questions are actually pretty funny to me, but
Okay.
Ooh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Do I just log in? Usually they have it where you can host it. All right. Play. Because you can really look at all these options. People don't use them.
Everyone likes tradition.
Okay, I think that's it.
What materials can be recycled most easily?
Nice. I actually don't like this question because we didn't make it. Because environmental wellness can be anything. And that's just coming from a public health standpoint. Environmental wellness is planting trees. It is global warming. It is being happy in your environment.
Oh, you could select multiple.
Cool. Uh-oh. Recycling and oh, T. Recycling could save, oh, I guess so. It could save money on landfills. But at the same time, it costs money to recycle. And that's why a lot of places don't recycle. You could do stuff with a recycled plastic bottle. Also, I feel guilty. I never drink out of plastic bottles, and this is the one day I am. Like that.
Okay, you rarely drink out of water bottles. You always have like a.
Thank you. Thanks for supporting.
Oh. Yeah, I bet you use it most of the time.
I mean, I feel like it also could save money. Okay, so it was both. I wish they would tell us.
You wish you had what?
I wish it would say you could select, like it's more than one answer.
Yeah. Oh, the slime.
Do you like this Kahoot?
We didn't make it, so we wouldn't be affected. Low-key, I think we all picked the same answers.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of who was fasting. Oh my gosh, no, that's up. Alrighty. Yeah. Oops, sorry.
So, and what?
You can go.
Hold on, I'm messaging. So, environmental wellness is literally the wellness of your environment, the air you breathe, everything. The interaction between yourself and your environment, and behaving in ways that care for bringing each of these items together. Today, we're going to focus on the ecosystem. What?
So for our first point is stopping fast fashion. So rather than buying 3 tops for $15 each, consider buying one for $40 and getting more use out of it. So, ethical fashion often does cost more, and this reflects the true cost of using materials that are less damaging to the planet. Um, I'm often guilty of this. Like, I'd rather just buy a whole bunch of things for cheaper, but then that causes like the shirts to stretch out faster or to get discolored. So then I'll just have to go back to the store and keep buying more when you could just buy a $45 shirt and keep re-wearing it for some years. Then the second bullet point is the fashion industry is estimated to employ around 45 million people, and women make up significantly 85% of the global workforce in textile factories, and they're some of the lowest paid people in the world. Even American countries use a lot of people from out of the country, and it's really sickening. They pay them for little to nothing. So try buying from more local shops, and this can reduce that. And then it kind of also goes back to the last bulletin point of buying one for $45 rather than $15, because typically the clothing lines who typically make clothes for cheap pay their workers less. Also, before you buy something, ask yourself, would I wear it a minimum of 30 times? I'm also kind of guilty of this one. I'll buy something for an event and only wear like once, like Halloween. You could just buy something that you can wear for multiple times and really just getting a good use out of it. Also, getting alterations. So if you gain weight or lose weight, or your clothes just stretch out from over time, you can actually get alterations for pretty cheap. And this also supports local businesses. And it saves the environment because you don't have to keep using packaging to buy new things. Going to places like Plato's Closet. If you don't want to take it to the Salvation Army, which a lot of people tend to do when they think of selling giving up their old clothes, and you'll rather get selling online, instead of wasting packaging, you can go to places like Plato's Closet or other places like that, and you can actually get money back for the clothes. And it's kind of like the Salvation Army, but you get money from it. And then buying more than one piece. So if you're buying clothes online rather than just buying one shirt, try to maybe buy a few shirts or a few pants. That way you can use less packaging when it's shipping to your house.
The next one is littering. So in general, littering is literally disposing of things in the incorrect way. So throwing things on the ground, not throwing them in the proper places that they need to be thrown in. Littering has a huge effect on our waterways. It can damage our fish. It can cause fire hazards. It can attract pests and rodents because, you're putting stuff on the ground. Also, the toxins from littering can cause huge health issues in us as far as like respiratory and cardiovascular health goes. It can also stunt plant growth, which will affect our food supply. Methods to stop littering, if you are having an issue, is to keep a litter bag in your car. I have a friend who actually keeps a little bag in her car and puts it on her gear shift, and it actually helps her refrain from like throwing stuff out of her car or not disposing of stuff properly. Also, in general, if you see someone who is littering, just simply saying, hey, there's a trash. Next time, could you please just put that in the trash? Holding your friends accountable, holding your family accountable, just in general, holding people accountable when they don't dispose of stuff properly. Maybe even if you litter, once again, adding on to our financial wellness PowerPoint that we had last week or a few weeks ago, if you litter, maybe putting $1 in a jar as like a punishment towards yourself. But just in general, holding people accountable for littering. Next one, put papers in a paper bag before recycling. So when you put your recycling tub outside, I don't know, if you have a little one that's just open, the papers can fly out due to the wind or the weather that's happening. So putting them in a paper bag or in a Ziploc bag will keep the papers from flying out and going into the street or wherever. Also, requesting electronic mail is a great way. So that way you won't be receiving mail, you'll just be receiving emails. I know a lot of banks are doing that. A lot of schools are doing that as well. And then making sure that you have containers for trash or recycling bins near you. So making sure that if you're going to be in an environment for a while, you have a trash can near you or you have a recycling bin near you, just so you can refrain from not disposing of things properly. I know at my office desk, when we were working at the office, we had a little tiny trash bin where we would just put our trash.
When you said how your friend has like a bag in her car, it reminded me of my friend because she actually has like a huge flower plant she keeps in her car, and when she like eats bananas or just any fruit, she uses for like a compost pile. And I got in her car one day, I'm like, why do you have this bin full of soil? She's like, I use it to compost. I'm like, okay. I never heard of
Oh,
a
wow.
in your car, but
No. I haven't heard of that, but when it was the same when I saw hers, I'm like, why do you have this? Then I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
oh, and back to this one, it's my pet peeve when people throw cigarettes out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is that bad for like the environment, it's not the best thing to do. So if you do that,
Mm-hmm.
try to think of keep a little ashtray in your car or something, and then throw it away. But yeah.
Yeah.
So sustainable eating, a lot of people actually don't think of this when they think of ways to help the environment, but it's actually a really good way to help the environment. So eating more whole foods, this consists of like apples or broccoli. And when instead of like buying things like pasta or bags of chips, try to get more whole foods where it's less packaging. And actually, with that said, when you buy apples or other fruits where you need to put the plastic bags in, try bring your own bags to the grocery store so you use less plastic. The second bulletin point is skip individually wrapped packaging. I actually got this from Patricia Wren. She's our public health teacher. But yeah, individual wrap things are good, for when we do portion controls. But instead of actually buying the individually wrapped cookies or chips, try buying just a big bag and then portion it out yourself with plastic containers, reusable plastic containers. And that way you're using less packaging. Cook only what you will eat in a day or what you'll eat in a meal. So this is also good for portion control, but it's also good for avoiding wasting food. Have a vegetarian or vegan day. It actually takes 1,799 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef and 576 gallons to produce pork. So that's astronomical. You don't have to become vegetarian or vegan, but just maybe having a vegetarian or vegan meal or snack rather than eating meat every single day. Every single meal of the day can actually save gallons and gallons of water. Yeah. And then creating a compost pile in community. So not necessarily is sustainable eating, but it just fuels back into the earth. It's also an excellent way to bring neighborhoods and local businesses together with a common goal. It reduces the conventional waste stream. It takes local responsibility for organic disposal, and it's a great way to create jobs. So having someone in your community in charge of the compost pile, or maybe local teams and giving them a few dollars a month to take care of the compost pile is a really good way to reduce waste.
So the next one is regularly maintain your vehicle. So if your vehicle's engine is running correctly, the filters are clean, and the tires are correctly inflated, the vehicle will be more efficient on fuel. So as I said in a previous workshop, if you keep your tires inflated, that saves you about 3% on the amount that you would spend on gas. Try not to idle your car, and do not wait too long for your car to warm up, because you're obviously you're releasing a lot of chemicals by keeping your car running. So as soon as it's ready to go ahead and go. I know in the winter we take some time to warm it up, but please don't just sit. The more weight you're towing around in your truck, however, the more gas the vehicle consumes. So maybe if you have extra things in your car that you don't necessarily need emptying out and cleaning your car, this is a wonderful time to do it, especially if you're working from home. And just in general, as we were saying earlier, maybe if there's shorter distance areas, walking or even biking to areas, or possibly carpooling instead of meeting your friends there. Maybe you all just meet at one area and then drive one car instead of driving 3 cars and releasing those toxic gases into the earth.
Yeah. Not only is it bad for the environment, it's also bad for like the children or just citizens who stay in the area
Yeah.
and their respiratory health. So for recycling, it will reduce garbage pileup, prevents pollution by reducing the need for raw materials, and it helps create more jobs. So things you can recycle are paper, cardboard, empty metal cans that do not have insulated coating, water bottles, milk jugs, detergent containers, gift wrap, dry cell batteries. So a lot of times people just throw anything in the recycling, and actually that just messes up the whole process and they'll either need to clean it, which takes more money, which deters people from getting recycling, or they'll just throw everything that was in their recycling bin away, and it's useless. So make sure when you recycle things to rinse it out. If you have a milk jar or milk cartons, rinse it out before you recycle it. You can't recycle like electronics. That's really bad for the earth. Instead, you have to, well, you can recycle them, but you can't put it in a normal recycling, but you have to take it somewhere else. So being mindful of that.
Yeah, or even maybe selling that electronic to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I don't know, I just keep thinking of environmental health class, but we learned how when you have e-waste, it goes to other countries, and they work in really dangerous conditions, like sorting through the e-waste, and it's overall bad for their health. They're being paid little to nothing. And it's actually illegal to do, but a lot of countries do, and they sell it to places in Africa or the Middle East or China. China's a really big one. So, yeah.
The next one is plastics. Plastics can take years to break down and have huge negative effects on marine life and human health because of the toxic chemicals that are released when plastics are broken down. I'm sure we can all smell when something is burning and it's plastic. You can smell that. It smells terrible. So just imagine that times 100. Things you can use in substitute of plastic are stainless steel or no straws at all. So I know some restaurants before the quarantine were actually no longer passing out plastic straws because the incident with marine life and the turtle. Or once again, you can have a little stainless steel straw, a little reusable straw that you just take with you. Additionally, using reusable bags instead of the grocery plastic bags, getting like I'm not sure the name of them, but like cloth bags and just reusing them. And then or even having the brown paper bags instead of the plastic. I know some grocery stores offer that. And then as Grace was saying earlier, she never usually uses water bottles. She usually has a little plastic-free reusable water bottle. That would be great to stop using the plastic. And then reusing containers for food instead of using that plastic for takeout. Or they were saying, you know how pizzas have that little plastic circle thing in the middle of the pizza, telling them to remove that would be a way to cut down on your plastic. Bringing like glass to a restaurant when you're going to take your food to go, bringing glass to your family's house when they're having a dine-in thing and you're taking your food to go in glass instead of plastic. Also cutting out sodas in general. Soda is not healthy for you with all the sugar, and it is a lot of plastic. And then don't use disposable items. So for example, if you're using a disposable razor, maybe just purchasing a more expensive razor. That way you're only replacing the blade and you're not throwing away that razor every single time that you use it.
This light is on my neck. The only reason why I'm drinking out of this is because I went to a restaurant for the first time during quarantine, and they weren't having cups. They only had plastic water bottles. But I reuse it, reduce, reuse, recycle, and I'm going to recycle it. So.
You're okay.
Well, thank you for coming. I think next week we're going to do a physical activity one. We haven't decided, a workshop. And then the week after that, origami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm all set. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good one.